do what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you're still in your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Who in a clapping, boots I am a strapping, a click click clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
There's a reason why everyone who's shopped around chooses to shop with us. They come for an extraordinary experience. Need help finding the right part? No problem. Our experts are ready to help. At Partstown, we've created a culture around our core values: safety, integrity, passion, courage, and innovation. We value our team members as family and consider our customers friends. We supply genuine OEM food service parts. No generics, no off-brands, just the real thing, ensuring your equipment is safe and running at top performance levels. We have the most in-stock parts on the planet. Yeah, the planet. When a machine breaks down, there's no time to wait around for a part. You need it 20 minutes ago. Longer hours of operation means your order can be placed and shipped today. You'll be up and running in no time. Wait, that's not the whole story.
Christy, we're back. Bootstrapping in America.
Welcome to Bootstrapping in America, where we interview some of the hottest entrepreneurs in Chicago and beyond. Our guest today is the CEO of Partstown. Partstown is a global market leader in commercial kitchen equipment parts distribution for restaurants and other businesses, boasting the most in-stock parts on the planet. Please welcome Steve Snower. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Christy. Tony, thank you.
Absolutely. So I loved sort of your office, and what I thought was great about it is it had the same colors, the red, the black, the gray. So that's golden, just walking in here.
Yeah, well, we're all about the red and black. At Partstown, it's all about culture, and we really bring it to life, in our facility in a bunch of different ways. So
that's awesome, and I do want to talk about culture because I've heard that there's a great undertone there, which is really sort of built a solid foundation for the company. But let's start out with your background a little bit, so I understand sort of where you came from and how you took on the role of CEO about 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, almost exactly 15 years ago. Was actually apparently my 15-year anniversary a couple of days ago. Which I found out when I walked into a celebration at Partstown. We're good at celebrating. So, so out of school, right out of college, I spent 10 years at a large electronic component distribution business and had a bunch of opportunities, took on some very senior leadership roles in the business. And towards the end of my tenure there, I was going to Kellogg to get my MBA at Northwestern, and really realized that I wanted to do something very entrepreneurial and really build a culture and a team and innovate in a different way, and found my way through, a series of lucky events to Partstown, which had 5 team members at the time and was a really amazing opportunity to build on.
So what year did Partstown start?
Yeah, so Partstown was actually founded in 1987. Okay. It was born out of a family business, actually, not my family, a great family, that was founded back in 1930. But Partstown itself was founded in 1987. It remained a very small business for a long time, but the family that was running the business really saw an opportunity to build it, and I became friends with the third generation CEO of that business while I was at Kellogg, and that's how it all came together.
Got it. So when you came on, though, and you took on the role of CEO, there were 5 employees.
Yeah, so there were 5 team members, which was actually perfect because the people were amazing. Incidentally, all 5 of them, Christy, are still with the business today.
That
so
says a
15
lot.
years later, we call them the original 5. And they're really the pioneers and people that we're incredibly proud of in the business. But 5 people was really enough to have a bit of a foundation, but also it put me in a position where we could really build the culture from scratch and instill a set of values and a way of working from the very beginning. Unlike my previous role running a much larger organization where it was more difficult to move the culture, we had a chance to kind of build it from the ground up.
Right, which is awesome. Yeah, with 5 people, you really truly can. you have way more control.
You know everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But we're all about the numbers. So you went from 5 to how many employees today?
Yeah, so today at the core Partstown business, we have 550 team members, and our group of businesses that we formed over the past many years has now over 1,600 team members. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah. Okay. So check the box that you scaled the business. That's pretty amazing.
Well, we're still just getting started, but we have scaled the business a bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about M&A, right? Mergers and acquisitions. And so you've acquired a couple different companies and 2 even just this past year, right?
Yeah, it's actually even more than that. So for a long time, we grew the business totally organically. Actually, for the first about 10 years of running the business, it was entirely organic growth. The organic growth engine is still revving very, very well. We had a huge year of organic growth in 2018, but we've added 10 acquisitions now over the past 4 years, including actually 5 last year alone.
Wow.
So
your CFO must love you.
Well, I love our CFO, actually, probably more than she loves me, but she's incredible and has made a lot of what we've done possible.
Yeah, sure. That's great. So let's talk about Partstown overall and what Partstown exactly what it does and sort of how it differentiates itself in the industry.
Yeah, so the core of our business is the distribution of food service equipment parts to service companies and restaurants that need them to get commercial kitchen equipment back up and running. So think of it, if a piece of equipment is broken in a restaurant or a kitchen at a hospital, a hotel, a school, wherever it may be, we're the organization that has the part in stock that can get it to you quickly in order to get your kitchen up and running safely and effectively. So that's really fundamentally what we're doing. How we've really differentiated our business and made it unique is certainly through the culture, that we've built. What we've tried to do is build a culture of uniquely enthusiastic people that really demonstrate our core values of safety, integrity, passion, courage, and innovation. We've built a really vibrant, environment that stimulates innovation ideas, and as part of that, a very meaningful way that we've differentiated our business is through the technology and innovation that we've brought to the industry. So part of the opportunity that I saw when I joined the business back in 2003 is really to bring transformative technology to a space that hadn't seen it before. So we launched the industry's first full e-commerce enabled website, back in 2007, the first mobile site, the first app. We have over 80,000 app users now around the world. We've launched unique features that make it easier to find and buy the parts that you need. And with the culture, we've made it fun and uplifting, for the customer at the same time. Because a lot of times when something's broken in a kitchen, someone's not having a very good day. And what our job is to make their day better, not only by delivering the right part extremely quickly, but also by the spirit of Partstown, raising your spirit up and making it a bit fun and friendly along with it. Yeah.
How many different restaurants do you actually work with? I mean, you just said 80,000 users mobilely, right?
Yeah.
And so how many different restaurants are you working with?
Yeah, so now we have over 200,000 customers, around the world, over the past 12 months. Many of those are restaurants, either independent restaurants or chain locations. A lot of them are field service companies. So think of it when something's broken, often you need a field service organization to come out and repair that equipment. And there's about 20,000 field service companies in the U.S. alone, and we really partner with them to get them the parts they need to get the equipment up and running as well.
Got it. We could just call Tony. Tony does all of the fixing.
I got a guy. Now you're my guy.
Yeah?
That's what I am. Yeah.
Nice.
I had a guy.
Make
Now
sure
you're
you
my guy.
download our app.
Can anybody download it?
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. Yeah, the basic information on Partstown is available on our website, our app, our mobile site. Anyone can download the app.
How do you make sure they get the right part? Because there are tens of thousands. I don't know how many there really are.
Yeah,
I mean, you
there's,
have an amazing amount of different SKUs basically on your website.
Yeah, there's an incredible amount of equipment out there,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, many of it very old. So there's a huge number of parts, and there's a singular part that can get that equipment back up and running in the safest, most reliable way. So a lot of our technology and our team is geared towards helping you get to that right part. So we've built a lot of unique features on our site that help you search by the equipment model, even now the serial number of that specific piece of equipment. We have 360-degree images of all the parts on our website, a technology that we introduced to the market back in 2013 that allows people to see every angle to make absolutely sure this is the one.
Right.
So a lot of our work, it's a great question, because a lot of our work goes into helping the different customers all over the world find the part that they need.
Right. So talk about tech for a minute, right? So you have 550 employees, you said, or 1,600 really in total. When you look at when you look at tech, you're like, whether they're coders or just engineers, whatever they are, attracting them to a parts distribution company, is that difficult? Because in fairness, most people wouldn't think of that as a sexy business, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
how do you attract and keep talent, and how many of those employees are basically computer science or engineering?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's a great insight that on the surface, we're restaurant equipment parts. It may not sound like the most interesting, exciting thing, but we've taken that and turned it into something incredibly exciting. And you walk into the doors of Partstown and you can feel, the culture, you can feel the energy. So it's a bit challenging to get people out to our business, but once they walk in the door, they generally want to be there.
Yeah.
And our talent acquisition team, is really seeking out people that fit the values. We do all of our recruitment based on how do they fit our 5 core values? Will they add to our culture? We look at values more than we look at experience. So we want people that fit that culture and can take it to the next level. So yes, we have a lot of technology people in the business, both in our IT department as well as our e-commerce, our product content management, but we also look to the whole organization to bring innovation ideas to the table. So we have tools and technology that we use internally to capture the ideas of our people, because a lot of times the next big innovation is in someone's head somewhere in the business, and we just need to draw it out and then act on it. So it's not always the technology people that are coming up with the next big technology idea.
So I really like that. I was going to ask you, because you've talked about culture a couple times, right? And innovation a couple times. And it's diversity of thought that sort of breeds that innovation. So you're using technology internally to gather the ideas. What's the process? Like, do you have a voting process, or do you ultimately, is there a committee? How do you actually sift through it?
For sure.
Seem like that kind of guy.
It seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah. So for many years, actually at first when we started. I had ideas, okay? I came in with some ideas, and some of the core team members that we brought on, the core leadership, had a bunch of ideas that we brought to life. But over time, I came to realize that my ideas were kind of running out, and the team that we had built had incredible, talent and capacity to bring ideas to the table. So my job became more about getting ideas out of people's heads and into action. So at first, that was about really just educating, encouraging, and inspiring our people to bring ideas up. We have a very informal organization and structure, so we were able to take ideas and act on them really quickly, okay, when we landed on a good one. Much more recently, we actually put in some technology to kind of guide and manage that process, where there is a voting capability, and we're really starting to ramp this up to a different level, kind of as we speak.
Yeah, no, I love that. So let's talk about, inspiring the culture and why that's important to you.
Well, I'm a huge believer that culture is your greatest competitive differentiation if you could really tap into it and build something unique. And there's lots of different cultures that can be very powerful. It's not just our culture, of course, but the companies, over time, companies can introduce new technologies or new products, and that could give them a boost. But if you get the culture right, you can deliver sustained growth over extended periods of time. So I put a lot of my personal time, and our leadership puts a lot of time and attention into the culture for that reason. We think that's the key to repetitive success. So we've had 15 straight years of greater than 20% organic growth.
That's
so we
impressive.
haven't had a year. Actually,
that is very impressive.
The lowest growth year that we had was 24%, and last year was a very significant organic growth year, much higher than that. How do you do it time after time? You do it from a culture of enthusiastic people that are committed to the cause and the values. That'll stimulate the innovation and
you
the
really
experience you
are a people
need.
business if you think about it, because part prices have got to be pretty much commoditized. I mean, they're all around the same. Finding that part, having somebody on the other side of the phone that's listening to the issue and the problem, going the extra legwork to get it done, is probably the biggest differentiator for the company.
Absolutely. If you look at the actual parts that we sell, others sell the same parts.
Sure.
We may have more of them in stock, and we're able to deliver them faster. But the underlying strength of the business is the talent and the team. The 550 people at Partstown and the 1,600 team members in our related businesses. That's where the real strength is.
For sure. Well, and so one of the things that you talk about too, when you're going through your mergers and acquisitions, a lot of times sort of the culture box is at the bottom, right? When you're sort of checking the boxes of strategic, is this a strategic fit? Is it, whatever. But it sounds like you probably put that at the top too, based on sort of how you run the business today.
Absolutely. People and culture is the top. And then once we do a deal, we put an acquisition partnership together, it's all about really bringing the culture to life and tapping into that team in a bigger, stronger way than ever before. So we brought a lot of great team members in through our acquisitions, but we need to get out and tell the history of Partstown and educate them on the values and start to invigorate them to bring their ideas, into the business. So we do a lot of work, on the culture.
Right.
After we do an acquisition as well.
Well, and doing the deal is one thing and a lot of work. The integration of it is the thing that takes, even longer, right? And you could make or break the deal by missing on integration. Yeah. So when you with the deals you did this past year, was the reason for doing them more about reducing the number of competitors out there, or was there something that they had that you felt really strategically either you guys were missing or you just wanted to, add to what you have?
Yeah, so, each of the businesses, and they're all a bit different, of course, but each business that we acquire, we're doing for very specific reasons, and it's more than just rolling up, companies that are in the competitive landscape. It's, team members that bring something unique to the table. It's geographies, it's relationships with certain manufacturers or customers. So we see something special about the business that we think we can bring out in a bigger way. And that's how we look at each of these businesses. Again, they're all a bit different.
Sure. So with you, just two quick last questions. So for you as a CEO, you've obviously, really taken this company. When you look at like the growth over the time frame that you've been CEO, the acquisitions, and just the culture that you've built. If you had to describe yourself as a CEO, sort of in 3 words, what would it be?
Culture, innovation, team.
Okay. Sure.
I think those are the things, that's about, and I've learned a lot, during the 15 years that I've run the business. I think I'm a very different leader than I used to be, but most of all, I think I've learned it's about, culture and innovation, and it's about the team. It's not about me, in any way. It's about a special group of people.
I think that's an important lesson too, because I think a lot of young CEOs, they do sort of, focus it a little bit more on themselves sometimes, but I think that's a great lesson. Totally off the wall question. So if I was like remodeling my house, what's the coolest like kitchen gadget kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, we don't do a lot in the residential.
No, I know,
world.
But like if I were going to get some industrial,
there's some amazing innovations out there. We partner with the absolute best manufacturers, in the industry. Who are doing some very clever things. There's a big show coming up called NAFM where a lot of that is showcased, but I don't know if I could itemize anything specific for you right here other than
we're going to get a fryer for
salamander.
Salamander? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is that?
Like above your oven so that you can broil like a steak. Like if you ever go to a restaurant where they char broil a steak, they have a salamander. It's just like a big broiler.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So there's a lot of parts to that, I bet. There you go.
Well, we like it when there's a lot of parts.
There you go.
Right, not too many moving ones, but sure, a lot of
Where can somebody find out more about Partstown if they want to check it out, Steve?
Yeah, so the best way is partstown.com, www.partstown.com. Of course, download our app, check it out. It's very cool if you're into the world of restaurant equipment replacement parts. But those would be, 2 great areas. You could always call our business. We answer the phone live within 3 rings with a friendly voice that can help you any way you need.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good job out of you. We'll take a quick 90-second break. When we come back, we got Liz and maybe myself after this. We'll be back in 90 seconds with Tastytrade Live.